the context for the survey was that, you know, the homeowners had lost, house values have dropped in the recession, the stock market dropped. The stock market's recovered, but again, we're seeing that housing values really haven't come back. So people are still have lost lots of the value in their homes. In terms of labor market, the unemployment rates went up. They went up more for men. Men have seen a bit more dropping in the recovery period than women's unemployment rates have stayed quite flat. Bounced around a little bit, quite flat.
These are changes in economic insecurity over time, and they come from, is this one where we were comparing two different surveys? Yeah. So rather than ask people to remember what it was like 3 years ago, we actually had their answer 3 years ago based on an answer by a sample that was similarly nationally representative, although it's two different cross-sectional samples. In the past year, have you failed to pay a bill on time? The green bars here are women, the purple bars are men, the darker bars are 2010, the lighter bars are 27. So you can see for every group, for every question, both men and women have experienced more problems in 2010 than in 27. And, but even in 2007, there were a lot of people having trouble paying bills. The second set of bars is cut back on vacations or retirement because of the cost. That's quite high. And not gone to a doctor because of the cost. That was fairly high in 2007, if you think that you needed to go to the doctor and you didn't, and even higher today, and especially higher for women. 28% said they did not go to the doctor because of cost in 2010.
See that for all these different worries people have, not being able to afford health care, having to go to a nursing home, Social Security being cut back or eliminated, and not having enough money, there were large increases for women in how many people said that they had a lot or fair amount of worry about their status.
We took a special look at parents in this survey. It had a lot of questions about how parents were doing. And in general, parents are among those who are, when you see all the data together, who are the most effective. This has the increase in economic security among parents between 2007 and 2010. Again, the green are women, the purple are men. And these are specific indicators of what they did. Not bought something their children wanted in the past year. Not too different between moms and dads. And not taking a child to the doctor because of the cost in the prior year.
Before the recession, did you think your savings would be adequate or more than adequate to maintain your standard of living? And now do you think your savings are that? And we see that, both for women and men, there's been a very sharp drop in how people view their retirement savings for maintaining their standard of living in retirement.
Would you have 2 months of savings, enough savings to cover 2 months if you lost your job? And here the red are women and the blue are men, and among all family types, all the things we looked at, the men always have more savings than the women.
Another thing that really struck out at the report is how few people actually participated in a retirement plan at work. Where this is the employers doing the work for you, taking the money out, putting the money directly into your account. You really don't have to do anything. And Congress, with the Pension Protection Act, made this a lot easier. The employers can just opt you in, and then if you want to be out, fine. But what we know from human nature is inertia is a very powerful force, and people do not sign the form and say, oh, don't save 3% of my income. So the money's already going in, except for half the population, which are some of the respondents here, who don't have a retirement plan at work. And that's where the automatic IRA proposal from President Obama and from Chairman Bingaman are important. For those 78 million workers who don't have a retirement plan at work, this would be a new law that would require, mandate, that employers who've been in business for more than 2 years or have more than 10 employees would have to automatically enroll their employees into an IRA. No match from the employer, but people could opt out if they wanted to, but what we know, people won't, and you'll start building wealth.
Self-assessed knowledge of financial planning. Here we ask, how knowledgeable do you feel about planning for your retirement? And these are the bars show the very knowledgeable or somewhat knowledgeable. So about so we see in each case, women are slightly less confident in their knowledge about retirement planning than men, and especially then among the Latinas and Latinos, we see lower confidence in knowledge about planning for your retirement.
The median net worth among women broken out by race. So net worth for adult women unmarried in this country, African American women, net worth $100.
What?
Latinas, $125.
What?
Net worth,
God.
single women over 18 years old, right? 100 for African American women, $125 for Latinas. For white women, the number is $41,500.
Wow. Wow.
And that's because in the white community you have higher levels of stock ownership, better participation in 401k plans, which is really an indirect form of stock ownership, and savings and mutual funds, and the housing values tend to be higher. It's also because during the housing boom, it was single mothers, and in particular single mothers of color, who were specifically targeted for abusive subprime mortgages, the value of whose homes has now plummeted. They went in and paid all this money for this house. They were told by their mortgage brokers, you can afford a lot more house than you think you can afford. I can get you into something with no money down and very low payments, and then what do you care in 5 years when the monthly mortgage explodes? You'll just flip the house. It's not a problem. And they were sold these things, and then the housing market collapses, and the value of their homes goes down. In the African American community, and even more so in the Latino community, wealth is tied up in home values.
So home values, stock values, right? And I think this really says a lot about where we are as a country. The stock market has rebounded since the recession ended. The stock market has done better. Housing prices have remained pretty much where they were, where they fell to when the housing market went bust. And you can see the house prices go down, and then they go up a little bit, and then they go down a bit. But they're sort of
So
flat.
in conclusion, we would just say that our survey shows that nearly everyone was affected by the recession and its aftermath. They're spending less, they're saving less. Those with unemployment in the household and parents and single mothers have the highest ratings on all those difficulty indicators, all those hardship indicators. And definitely they need jobs. I think the American Jobs Act would help them. Do I think the American Jobs Act is enough to help them? No, there's a lot more we should do. And then the final point, we really see from how much higher all the difficulty and all the hardship indicators are for women, that women are still in recession. Their recovery has not yet begun. And even the unemployment rate data that Jeff showed, women's unemployment rates are not falling, men's are. And the job numbers, men are regaining some of their lost jobs, and women have regained almost none of their lost jobs. So we believe that the recovery really hasn't yet begun for women.